Hey guys, welcome to Storytime. In this story, I talk about the time where my dad's mistress ended up having a baby, and at this time, my dad's mistress was at the hospital. They had just delivered the baby, and as a young kid, I had no clue what this meant because the dynamics in my household was so strange. The mistress would always hang out at my house. It seemed like my mom and her were friends, and so when I was like 10 or 11 years old. I really didn't know any better. And so, I remember being in the car with my mom and we'd be doing something. And I'm like, hey, let's go see Vinny, which is my stepbrother's name. Let's go visit him at the hospital. I'm super excited. I've got another brother, I just went on and on and on. And I remember sitting behind her seat and just going on and on with my toys and like, yo, I can't wait to meet my new brother. And I was so excited. And there was just dead silence in the car for a good 15 minutes. And by the time my stupid self realized, I looked over and saw my mom. She was crying and tears were down her face, and she was just so mad at me. And she starts yelling at me. She's like, "Do you know who he is? Do you know, how he was born? And do you know what your dad did to me?" And she laid it on me. And I think for the first time in her life, she finally vented and really showed her emotions because leading up to this time, now mind you, my dad would beat the crap out of her, chase her around the house, bite her face, try to kill her, throw knives at her, pull guns on her. And she never really mentioned it the day after. It just kind of went back to normal. And so when I saw her break down like this, it really shocked me because I was like, at first I was just a dumb kid. I was like, "What's your problem? Like, are you crazy? Why all of a sudden you're acting like this?" And didn't realize until years later the impact of having your oldest child badgering you to go to take him to go see his stepbrother, which is your husband's mistress, is his child. And that impact lasted with me for a while, and I didn't really understand how much I was hurting her. But then again, I was a kid. I had no clue what was going on, and the way the family dynamics were, I thought it was okay, and I thought we were all friends. And so, this kid was born. After this, it was kind of weird too because, you know, the mistress and my dad would drop off that kid at my house, and I would babysit him. I would babysit two of my other siblings and change their diapers and take care of them. And they would drop off their kid at my mom's house and have us babysit. And that's something to this day I don't really understand or recognize as being normal. But then again, in my family, nothing was normal. So, I grew up seeing my mom put up with all this stuff, and she never really expressed herself. But I could feel that the pain and the hurt were there. And so, babysitting this kid all the time, seeing him around, my mom would still treat him very nicely.